So, right, like I said, this is now UCT, but just a bit of a use case for this. So what UCT does is this. They, in the past, I would say about, well, prior to EMS, or the use of EMS, and that's still being phased in, but let me just give you the background. After registration, and actually not frequently, but let's say about 3 or 4 times during the year, they run through a process of checking records, specifically for students. So let's say now we're busy with registration at the moment. Let's say a couple of weeks after registration, this CRS, they call it CRS, course results schedule process, would typically run. And that really involves getting full extracts of information of a student, like the full profile of a student, to be checked by advisors. So it's actually delegated and divvied out between different people within the institution. So a good example would be after registration, and again, then let's say a couple of months into the process, and then again towards the end of the year, just before you kind of figure out who's supposed to start graduating, etc. Now, in the past, and it still happens in some senses, but we're working on getting EMS rolled out completely for this as well. Science has been the pioneers on this. But what happened was this massive report was actually generated, printed, and then the good old pen and paper was used to just do your annotations. Now, EMS makes your life much, much easier in this, because all of a sudden, we can now use this generic framework to run through these different evaluations or divvy them out. You remember Siobhan said you can use workflow within EMS. You did mention that, right? Yeah, you can use EMS has very strong workflow capabilities. So it allows you to actually divvy out or route these different EMS instances to different staff members. So I'm just going to give you a bit of a sneak peek of what's happening here. This is just a training guide that was done for them. Let me just quickly jump to the interesting bits, and this is all pure EMS, right? So everything that Siobhan has explained. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Right, so what you would see there on the right-hand side, this was just a bit of a flow of this, but there's evaluation work list, stock standard delivered, integrates with EMS. We did put a bit of a fluid twist on it, but that's not really important now. There you go. That's more or less what you would see. So a work list. So let's say the evaluation instance has been assigned. There's a bunch of students that I need to look at and make sure that the records seem correct. It would end up in a work list. Again, EMS functionality. And then it would be my job to actually give my input and have a look at the record for the specific student. Now, I want to specifically, apart from the workflow bits that's very useful in EMS, I want to specifically draw your attention to another very piece of useful functionality within this. And that is that if while this EMS process is ongoing, or while you're busy evaluating this evaluation instance, you are again able to configure different links across the top of this evaluation work list item. So I would be able to click, sorry, I know this might be small. I would be able to click on the course results schedule while I'm working on a specific student, and that would, again, you'll remember Ashley spoke about BI Publisher. Thanks. I'm just going to jump one down. Open something like this, what you've got on the right-hand side. So in this case, it's actually a big BI Publisher report that brings back the student records, some academic standing codes, bit of program enrollment at the bottom here. But effectively, the point is, yes, we're throwing this into a workflow process, but we're also trying to give you all the information you need in order to make your decision. So you'll see on the left-hand side, once I've made my decision, I can enter some comments, a recommendation, and the workflow continues. So that's just a bit of a different use case for EMS. So I really want to challenge you to think a bit outside of the box. If wherever in your, as Campus Solutions customers, wherever you think about evaluating something, just for a moment, give a step back, think about EMS. Is there not maybe a use case for this? As you can imagine, this, what I'm describing here about the record checking and advisors working through the student records, that's not your typical EMS use case. But again, I'm challenging you, just maybe think outside of the box in that case. Right, that was my 2 cents. What do you want to do? Carry on. Okay, so we have time. Well, we're 3 minutes over. That's not bad for us. Okay, so Right, so that is us. You're welcome to reach out to Roelf or to Siobhan. There's an email address. And then Sean's got a question. Does it update the action reason on the IBM stack? Yes. Sure. Well, Siobhan's actually, you go for it. But yes, that's exactly what it does, Sean. So we use the delivered process, and that just uses pop select at the end of the day to pick up who needs to be updated. Yes. Any other questions or comments? You're welcome to obviously mail us afterwards and chat to us. Roelf, anything you want to maybe add as well? Are we still online? We might have lost you like 20 minutes ago. And
No, I'm still here. No, there's. I think it was quite comprehensive, and I don't think there's anything I need to add.
Perfect. So just, I think from a UFS, University of the Free State perspective, and Roelf, you can also just weigh in there. We obviously work with health sciences now to do the undergraduate evaluations, and I know quite soon postgraduate might also be on the radar with, as I understand, far less automated calculations. So at some point, maybe workflow, but you also have to remember institutions need to be ready for workflow. I think we all would understand that. So, but I think at some point maybe to start utilizing the workflow capabilities even more. Right, so that's it basically from this side.
Thank you for joining our session.
Thank you, Ruhan, Siobhan, Roelf, everyone at Rooksys. It was a great session. Thank you to everyone who's been attending. And I hope you all have a great rest of ICE 22. Thanks again, guys. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Keep well. Bye.